All right.
Good afternoon. Real Sports Fan Podcast. Your boy Lance Wilson presents Coming Out of Darkness, the story behind the story. Interviewing to the right of me, my own Victoria Bryce. This is going to be a very inspirational story. She's basically going to be telling her story about physical abuse, mental abuse, about domestic violence in relationships, and the reason even for myself wanting to do this is, as you know me, if you follow me before, most of the time I'm talking about majority of sports, but I want to kind of branch out and do some different things. And last year in August, at me and my own church, Man Deliverance Center, I'll shoot a plug there, 29152 Canvasback Drive. Come see us on Sunday morning, 11:15. She told her story about what she went through in her life, and I knew some things about what she went through, but actually hearing the story and being there, and even, I mean, I was a young boy. I'm 34 years old, so there were some things I remember. There's a lot of things that I didn't remember, didn't even know. Growing up, you see different things, you hear different things. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into this thing, and it's really just something to help the women out there that may be in abusive relationships. All you may know is that a man is supposed to do that to you, which is definitely incorrect. That's all some people know. Is they used to say, well, he don't love me unless he hit me, which is so false. So I'm also really going to tell the story. We're going to kind of get into it, and you first want to say anything to the people out there that abuse yourself, and just say a little bit about yourself.
Well, yes, my name is Victoria Bryce, and I am the owner of Lance. And, I am 54 years old, and I am.
She don't look at this, y'all. She look good. She look good for what she went through.
Thank you, and that's actually one of the reasons as well to tell the story, because when people tell me how good I look for my age, I then think about what I've been through and know that it was no one but God to help me through what I went through and to be looking like this. So going back to that is my story.
Awesome, and just to plug, for a moment, a lot of times you hear that last name Bryce. She's the daughter of Deacon Harold Bryce, daughter of Evangelist Jesse Bryce.
Yeah.
6 children. She's the 5th oldest, the 3rd oldest daughter.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
That is true. I have one daughter as well. I cannot forget them.
Yeah.
Thank God. I have a daughter. She's 39, and I have 3 grandchildren. 22, 20, and 10. They probably say, "Mama, why you shouting their ages?" Like, well, I'm just grateful.
That's right. They're watching.
Yeah. So, so I thank God for that.
Yeah, awesome. So first, just opening up, how many abusive relationships were you in?
Well,
And when you have to sit and think about it, that just tells you right there that it wasn't 1, it wasn't 2, that she really went through something, in her youth.
I guess that really stand out, and when I say stand out, is the beatings that were so severe. Would probably be about 3 or 4. But abuse, of course, can be verbal and as well as physical. And so that tied in is also emotional, because that's all tied in. But there's like 3 or 4 that stood out, and that pretty much goes along with being beat to the point that I'm unrecognizable, whereas or beat to the point that I can't hardly walk for a month. I've had a ruptured tailbone, and also beat where I'm pinned down and beat with a fist all in the face like a man. Uh, Drug down the road, by just dragging me all the way down the road and skinning my back up. Very unacceptable. And of course, I know people are saying, wow, you stuck through that, or why did you go through that? And at some point, I always kept thinking that, why am I attracting the same type of men? And actually, a man would say, it got to a point I would even tell a man a story about what I went through, and he would be like, you know what, I would never do that because I have a mother, and I wouldn't nobody do that to my mother. So hearing that, I felt like, okay, well, this is good. Then that man would do the same thing. He would beat me. Then I began to think, well, maybe there's something that I am doing wrong. Maybe I'm doing something wrong for these men to do this. And then sometimes I think, well, maybe this is their way of showing me that they love me. That might be a twisted way of thinking about that's what love is, but that was like an attention that I was getting. And maybe the abuse might be today, but it wouldn't be tomorrow. Today was one of those bad days, but tomorrow would be those days where he would just show me the world, do everything for me to make me feel so special. So it wasn't every day being beat. So I figured, he's just showing his love because he was jealous. And not that I had to do anything wrong. I could just walk down the street and he'd be with me and someone would speak, and that would anger him because he felt disrespected. Then I began to feel like, well, maybe I should, tell everyone, do not speak to me, because I was afraid at this point.
This point right there, let's get information there. One of the things you said was maybe you shouldn't speak, or maybe you should tell them not to speak.
Right.
And then you also talked about how one of the relationships you was in, I think you said about people not being able to recognize.
Yes.
You could
yes.
go a little bit more in depth
yes.
about that particular
yes.
time when you were unrecognized.
Yes. In that abuse relationship, that was funny because I actually was no longer in that relationship, and I had we were no longer together, but this guy really, 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 he was still crazy about me. And he happened to have he was listening at my window and heard someone talking to me, and so that made him think, oh, so she's seeing someone else now. Well, but I wasn't. And so this person left the house, and I went and knocked on this person, the ex's door, to talk to him. And because of him, in his mind, thinking that I was with this person sexually or any other type of way, when I knocked on the door, he came out and began to start beating me. I just didn't know, it just blows all in my face, and I fell to the ground, and he still was beating me. And I remember maybe like getting one eye open to look to see him walk away, and not realizing how bad it was. And so I then proceeded to walk down the street to some friends' houses, like family to me, and they were all sitting on the porch, and they began to start screaming. And I was hurting, but I did not realize how bad my face was. And they told me, you got to get to the hospital, your face. And at that point it was swelling. I did not realize how bad it was. And some friends came to the hospital, and at that time, that's when the hospital had the curtains that you shut, and yeah, well, no, I don't recall family. I really never told family but because of the severity of what had happened, I think family began to hear afterwards. But friends had came to the hospital, and I seen some people walk by And then I heard the nurse say, "You just passed the room." And so I remember them picking up, but they kept on walking by, however. And then when they looked in and she showed them to come in, they looked and they were very angry. And then they began to go out and look for this person. That's when I found out that he didn't really recognize me because my face was so messed up. No broken bones, but it was just swollen and, bloody here, but just so bad. But thank God, no broken bones. Never an excuse for no one to be hit on. You was going to ask me something else.
Yeah, and then, getting to the point where you felt like you couldn't speak to people, or people couldn't speak to you. Was that every abuse relationship? I know you said around 3 or 4 that was real bad.
Yeah. Actually, it is it's mostly all the relationships because that's married or not married, however it may be, is just that had to do with control.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that, and see, this right here is all signs: the jealousy, the control.
So seeing some things now, looking back years later, that you've seen leading up to maybe the first hit, that now you look like.
And like with the jealousy, control, and watching where I go, and I'm looking and they pop up, in my mind I'm thinking at that time, they really like me, they really like me. And so that was making me feel good because see, I felt like, and that goes back to where me as in childhood, never getting being picked on in school, because of the color of my skin, darkness then was like, you just got picked on. And so I always felt that I was the black sheep of the family, and that was just, when I look back at that, that's where the enemy plays on your mind with that, so you're feeling less than, you're feeling like you are separate, so me getting that attention that I was getting when it comes to a relationship, exactly. And so I felt like, oh, okay, I was getting that attention. So okay, well, so he's hitting me, but tomorrow will be better, I've even was beat because I got out of a relationship, because you think, well, I've heard some girls say, girl, I'm going to hit him back, I'm going to do this, you need to pick up something, and of course I tried that, and I had a knife, and of course it went back and sliced my own stuff, so really you just got to be careful, you have to be wise, and I say that as far as you got to get out. It's not love. It is no way love, because you are worth something. And because, like I was saying, back in my childhood, I felt less than, I felt like I wasn't beautiful. Well, guess what? God creates everything and everyone beautiful. So never look less about about yourself. You are someone, someone of beauty, someone of greatness, and we deserve the best. We deserve the best. Don't take less than.
I'm glad you went to back to childhood, because I always say, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's, I'm glad now that we're looking more at mental health and different things like that, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, all the different things. But I always say that there's always something, if you look back at a person, no matter what they're going to do, if you go back to the childhood, it's something that may have triggered, now as you're an adult, what might have messed you up to where you just kept on going, you might didn't realize it, so what you were saying about feeling less than, and kids, even now, with bullying and things like that, kids are mean, they bully, you too dark, or look at your hair, all these different things. You don't understand that all these different things, as a person gets older, can really affect them in a negative way. You could have got tired to the point where you could have took your life. Did you have any suicidal thoughts?
Right, and that's exactly right. I don't really recall having suicidal thoughts as a kid. I probably would say I wish I wasn't born. So that's really a thought right there, I guess. But as I got older and went through the first relationship of abuse, I think that's when I started suicide attempts.
Oh, so you actually started the attempt, though.
And that was down to taking pills. Taking like extra strength Tylenol, taking almost a half a bottle of those, and I remember collapsing in high school, and the medics came, and I could hear one say that she has a pulse of a dead man's pulse. So thank God I'm still here.
That's right.
You know, I could have been gone, and just different attempts, and then I began to even take razors and slice myself. And actually, I seen one time a movie, this is way after that, and it was called Cutters. And that was pretty much because of what I was doing. It was relieving stress for me. I would actually cut myself, and it would relieve stress. And I mean, I actually thought I was crazy, but, you know, after the fact. But I would slice my wrist, my arm, my chest, my legs, you know, and I still have these marks, my face, I still have those marks there from a razor. And it's just because I felt like I was less than. I felt like nobody's going to treat me right. So since to me, I felt ugly on the inside, might as well just be ugly on the outside, and I'm just, you know, taking a razor and cutting myself and bleeding, and then I would just be okay, you know, and go on about my merry way. So that was like a relief thing for me. But I tell you, but God.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I could have hit the wrong vein. I could have bled to death, you know.
That means that you're supposed to be here even to tell the story.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And all you went through. Now, did you have any other, I guess I call them suppressants or things that while you were being abused, you did to try to quote unquote numb the pain? Whether, because I know you talked about pills, stuff like that, but whether it was drinking, whether it was just partying, what can you tell anybody anything about that?
Drinking became, you know, just a party thing, but then it became something that I used to because I was so stressed, and I remember keeping the shades down in the house, and
I do remember.
You remember that? And I remember my mom told me one time, you always keep it dark in here, but I kept the shades down, and I would drink gin, maybe from a small bottle to a bigger bottle, and maybe it became to be mixed at first, and then it became to be I was drinking it straight. Then when I realized I really had a problem, because it began to taste like water to me. And I mean, when I say that, I mean literally didn't have a taste. It was just, I was just drinking.
And you're not just talking about, are you talking about the middle of the day? You talking about every day?
This was every day. This was not in the middle of the day. It wasn't a certain time. It could be in the morning. You know, it can just be, depending on how I feel. And from the drinking, then it became crack. It became acid. Marijuana a little bit, you know. For some reason, I just couldn't really do it. But, you know, but honestly, it just became to those type of things. Like I said, acid and crack, cocaine, you know, powder cocaine. I never shot up because I was afraid of needles anyway, so I wouldn't even think of doing that. But these are things that I was doing, and it made me feel good. Even though they were temporary of those feelings that I was getting, but it made me feel good. No, those problems never went away because of that, but it was shoved under the rug, and the problems still remain.
So that was kind of a way of coping with the pain.
Yeah.
So to speak about whether it was drugs, partying, and even though, think about it, even though suicidal attempts wasn't from necessarily drugs and stuff like that, something like that could have took you out.
Yes.
You know, whether it was being at a party at the wrong place, wrong time. I'm sure you've had some experience there.
Yes.
Whether it was shooting up, well, not shooting up, like you said, but the
Oh,
wrong
not
drugs. Shooting up,
right.
the wrong drugs,
Yeah.
the wrong drugs,
Yeah.
and different things like that.
And actually, I mean, it's
No,
not you,
go
but
ahead.
when by you saying that, I remember where I actually OD'd off of I think it was like time off, something like that, but it was also cocaine mixed with that. But what I'm saying is, when I was at the hospital, they had found heroin, and I'm like, I don't take that. You know, what are they talking about? And they were like, no, we found it in your system. So that's when I had thought, and I realized that where I was getting cocaine from, they had mixed it with heroin. So I easily could have been addicted to heroin, you know. And if I did not even go to the hospital that day, I wouldn't even known that, and could have been, struggling with heroin right today.
So that was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And then I thought to myself, you know, you think that's your friend that's giving you this drugs, and if it was your friend, they would not have, well, first of all, you shouldn't be taking them anyway, but to have it laced, and when I say laced, that means mixed with something else. They don't care about your well-being, they care about their pockets with the money, you know. So you know, it was just one thing after the next. So I just, you know, my daughter went through a lot, and the thing about this is that because I wanted to see myself happy with a man, never thought about her well-being. And I say that because of the abuse that I was going through. One particular time that I can really remember that she saw was when I was pinned to the bed, and I think she was like about 2 years old, and he pinned me to the bed and just began to beat me, and blood went everywhere, and she was screaming, saying, "Stop, don't hit my mom, and stop." And I remember when he finally did stop, I picked her up and ran out the house to a near neighbor and dropped her off over there, and I just began to walk down the highway, and it was really dark out, but I walked down the highway and went to a relative house just because I didn't know what to do, you know. But you know, I don't know, it's just the fact that it was something that continued in my life from maybe 1980 up until maybe 2000. You know, it's a long time, you know, for in and out of relationships that you think that are good, but they're not. You know, even to the point that, you know, you think you're good, and you look out your window, and your ex or your current boyfriend is watching you, sitting in front of your house or sitting in front of your job, watching every move you make. You know, it gets like that. You know, there's nothing cute about it. It's not like they really interested in you, but when you see that obsession to that point, you know, it's time that you find help.
And one thing I want to say, that's good that you brought up your daughter. That was one thing I want to say, which you already answered, was how did it affect your daughter? Because so many women out there is being abused, and even men, whether it's physical abuse, and some people may laugh, but men get physically abused. Mental abuse is real key with how a woman even talks to a man.
Yes,
You'd be surprised how that affects a man. You know, especially with men, you know, we're supposed to be manly, we're supposed to be tough, we're supposed to be able to take stuff, but you know, men get depressed just as women get depressed.
Yeah.
Going back to how it affects your daughter, we have to understand that our choices, what we go through, you know, they do affect our kids, you know, positive, negatively. But one thing that is overlooked is that it's something else, you know, give me, obviously, on my own, I knew some things, but even knowing now even more is, some people may be in one of these relationships, they may be in two, but for you to be in a couple, how did you get out of, you know, and I'm not saying you had to list specifically, but how do you get out of these relationships, the first one, but then you led to the second, to the third, how did you even get out? Because if they were beating you so bad, how did you even get out? Yeah,
You know,
hard to answer.
it's, well, I don't know. I would say either just fade away or divorce or whatever have you.
And how many times were you married?
I was married twice.
No, we're both marriages abusive.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
marriages were abusive
Yeah.
as well as relationships. Now, before you married, were they abusive before, or did the abuse start after? Do you think there were differences?
You know,
I get married and they're different, or you just?
that is a good question. One of the marriages wasn't, I would know abuse until after. I think he really felt like he owned me. Just the way he really, like, I didn't see the difference in him as far as the jealousy, the control, after the fact. And then the other abuse was before. So it's like, why did I even marry if I knew that this is what he did? I really don't have an answer for that. I think sometimes you just want somebody in your life, you know, and then you get complacent and you feel like, oh, you know, I'll accept this, I'll take this, it may get better, you know, and so I think that's how I think things, and of course it did not get better, it got worse. And I don't want to be like I am, you know, I mean, I might, you know, things were not like I was the perfect lady in the relationship. But the thing is that I realized no one, no man, no woman, no child should be hit. You know, no one deserves to be abused. No one. And yes, men do get abused, you know, and they'll never say so, you know, just because they don't want to feel less than, like I'm not a man if they know that I let this woman beat on me. Women should not beat on me. Men should not beat on women, you know, and it's the same thing. We shouldn't beat on our children like that. So abuse goes in all ways, and the thing is that I'm sure there's other stories that are worse than mine, but abuse is abuse. And I'm just reaching out to talk about my story because when Lance had asked me, you know, the other day, the name of it quickly came across me coming out of darkness. And I mean, it wasn't nothing I had to think about, but I realized it was like I was in a dark place then in my life. And even though, you know, I felt all the partying and being with all these different men, you know, because then after, in between these relationships, that's when, you know, okay, I felt popular and I wanted to be with different men. Well, you know what? Then that's when I'm abusing myself, because then I'm realizing that I'm not respecting who I am. We have to respect ourselves. I don't know. It's just the best that we understand that when a man says that he loves you, showing you in a way of verbal abuse or control, or there are so many different signs, like I said, of blaming fault on you, or never himself, or if he does, then he does the same thing the next day. I mean, there's just so many signs that you have. At one time, I was even hostage in my own place. That may sound crazy, but it is so. You know, I literally could not leave. If I tried to go out the door, I was getting beat. And I just could not leave out the house. No one really knew that. But it's just some crazy situations that I went through. And I know that God kept me to come through this so I can talk to other people. Because what I may look like is not what I've been through. And that's exactly, you know, my daughter, I believe she became strong through all of that. And I say that it you know, I feel bad that it happened around her or whatever, but I remember even at some point when she was young saying, I will never get a man that will beat on me. It's like she will know, you know, or just be strong, you know. I don't know. I think she just be careful. She just was being careful of who she entangled with. But I just but I just am sorry that it had to happen through that. But again, we have to understand it's just not us going through that. If you have children, then it is your children that's going to go through that as well. Whether they see it or not, they're going through it because you're going around with sorrow, sadness. They're going to feel that from you. So they need to be in a happy environment. You need to be happy. And I'm speaking down to others who may be going through this. That one-time hit, believe me, it can happen again. Don't take it for granted that it may not. Because that it won't. Because the fact is that we just have to be smart about things. We have to. There are places to go. One thing that I did not do was tell people. And I'm going back on that to the point that I used to lie to my parents. They would wonder why I had a sling on, and I would say, oh, I caught the TV and it made me have a sprained arm because it was falling off the table. I actually said that, but that came from abuse. Different things that may have happened to me, I've always had an excuse for the man, so that they would not know that the man did it. Why I did that, I don't know, but I did not want them to know what type of things that I was going through in my life as far as abuse came with the man, unless otherwise they would find out because I ended up in the hospital.
And I know you said you didn't tell your parents, you didn't want to know your parents knew what you were going through. What about if maybe someone's watching and they're trying to figure out how to get out? What about the police? Did you ever go to the cops or anything like that? Because I've heard, the reason I'm asking that, I've heard some people say, well, go to the police, you gotta jump through this hoop, or they don't really help you, or they gotta see it, or what did you go to?
Well, I guess I never thought it was needed, and you said, and I guess probably said, well, why wouldn't it be needed for man to put their hands on me? Because I really still wanted it to work with that man.
Do you think you could try to change? You know what I mean?
I don't think that I personally thought I could change him. I just think maybe he would change. The only time or two that I can recall of police being involved was when I was beat and after the relationship was over with, and I remember leaving out of my house and turned around, the guy came up and he had hit me, but I didn't even know that. I was told that. So I assumed that I must have went unconscious because I landed on the concrete on my back, and that's when I had a ruptured tailbone. And I remember him looking up, and he walked away and he was coming back to apparently beat me more until someone hollered and to say stop. And he ran off, and then the police at that point was involved because that became a public thing because it was outside. I think even if it didn't become public because of the severity of that, I'm sure I would have called the police. Yes, court. We went to court and there was a restraining order. But of course, that did not stop him because he came right on to the house with my, just walked on in the house after that. But still, don't keep things to yourself when this is going on. If you go to church, seek your pastor, talk to your pastor. There is help out there. Call the police. Don't think you can't go to them. Call the police. It's just that, like I said, I just made the wrong choices, thinking that I'll give him another chance. But you know what? You do that, and there may not be no more chances. He may hit you the wrong way. Might not be no more chances. So get out of it when you can. There are hotlines, to call. There's the domestic violence hotline. You just have to seek help. But yeah, so when I say story behind the story, because there's a story at the top that everyone knows, You know, oh yeah, Vicky's been beat on, or Vicky, you know, but it's always that root. And that root is, like you were saying, where it all started to me. Because if I did not feel less than as a child, I think I would respect myself and expect more for myself as I got older. So I just settled.
And when you saying feeling less than, this is for the people that may be listening, are you saying that it's from the household, from kids, from peers?
Right. No, not household. I mean, my upbringing was brought up in church. You know, you got to go to church almost every day. Yes, every day. You know, you got to be in the house at a certain time. It was more so school. More so school, because, you know, like I said, your color skin, they called you this, they called you, you know, that, but I just think there were just some things within me that I just felt like I wasn't good enough, wasn't pretty enough. It was just something within me, and
low self-esteem.
Yeah, the low self-esteem can really bring you down a lot. And so, see, I did not always live in Easton, and so where I was living at, and then I moved to Easton in the time of being in middle school. Then it's like my popularity enhanced, because then it's like, you know, the new girl in town.
What about the party spot?
Yeah, you know, everybody knew where the parties was gonna be. I had parties all the time. I mean, I had probably every guy that was on the basketball team to come, and it wasn't nothing about sex. It was just the fact about being popular and having the big parties, and everybody knew. Even after the club, as I got older, after the club was over with, the party was at 401 Dover Bro. Yes. But those were the days, you know, and so, you know, with that saying, you know, the popularity, and then, like I said, then I just ended up with the grown men, and so then it was, and then the drugs, and the drinking, and I even, you know, was raped by two men that, you know, at the same time, which I thought they were my friends, and I'm thinking they coming over just to come by, you know, and just to chill. But they had an agenda, and that they already knew what they planned to do, and they came over and they raped me, you know. And of course, not many people believe that story because of the popularity I had with men. They figured, yeah, ain't nobody raped her, but it is so, because I would not ever say that about someone. You know, unless it was true. But I say that only because sometimes your reputation, like the way people look at you, they just think less of you, you know, to that point. So that's why I say that too, that you are someone. Never think that you're not worthy, because everyone is worthy. Everyone is worthy.
You know, it's interesting because I don't know if there's ever going to be a time where you can tell everything, because the story runs. When you say come out of darkness, story behind the story, it's so much that you can tell where you don't have time to tell so much, you know. And I'm saying all that just to say I'm going back and my mental Rolodex as a kid, and you can, as my wife even now, you talk about being like your daughter affected, and I even think about things I've seen, you know, like I don't like it being dark in the house. That's one thing, like, because I remember being at your house, and like you said, it probably was the curtains and stuff till like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, and then also not only was it dark, but now I'm thinking back, I understand why you was in the bed, sleep, resting, maybe high, you know, whatever, and you wouldn't come out till 3, you know, 2, 3 o'clock, you know, because of what you were going through. But I don't like it dark in the house. Like I like sometimes I say, I'll open the blinds, I'll turn the light on, you know.
Wow.
So just different things like that. Even I think about. Then I even think about as a kid, maybe 10, 11, 12, remember some things and get mad to the point where I wanted to fight. You know, I remember, you know, we had an uncle, you know, I had an uncle, God rest his soul, you know, that got mad one time. I remember getting ready to go find one of the guys and find something to get, you know. So I remember all these things, and then even other incidents that they came about. And I say all that to say, I even wonder with some of the men, but we talk about what you went through as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what they might have went through as
exactly.
a kid. You know, again, I'm not saying this is what happened, but I'm just saying maybe they seen their fathers beat their mothers, and they say, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to be, or you know what they see on TV, or just different things. But you know, it's always something. You know? And thank God for a couple of men, or that's come out of that and are living awesome lives now, and gave that, don't do that anymore. And I'm saying all that to say about finding God.
That's right.
How or what? Because again, you were raised in the church.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like, you knew God, what you always known, but what was maybe the final straw when you like, I got to find God. I know Him, but I don't know Him.
Right. I got to know Him for myself.
I got to know for myself.
Right.
I can't know Him for my friends.
Right. Because see, the thing is, being I was brought up as a small child in church days ago, I could not wait to get out the house and be on my own, which was at an early age. I think it was like 17 with my own apartment. And so at that point, I remember saying, when I get out on my own, I'm going to do what I want to do. There ain't no church going on in here, So that's when it was party full force, doing what I wanted to do, getting hooked up with all the wrong things and wrong people. Okay. So it's when you get sick and tired. And when I say sick and tired, I mean sick and tired, that it's just like you can't do nothing else but turn your life to God. And that's when you are a willing vessel to go on your own. Not because someone tells you to, advise you to, but it's because it's like time. You surrender all. And it's like when you do that, all the choices that you make begin to be better choices. You see things in a different way. And the choices of men that I had were the choices that I wanted, not what God chose for me. And that is why I went through also what I went through. And I say that because, see, this all was a type of the lifestyle that I chose. So, finally, like I said, one day I'm like, I just got to, this is it, I got to turn my life over. And a matter of fact, I think it was after I also been into, I can't think, because I became so depressed and I had committed attempted suicide. I was into it, I think Waterside in Cambridge. So I was there, and I even feel bad thinking about how my daughter had to come see me there, foaming from the mouth and all of that from the medication that they were giving me. So what I'm saying is, coming out of there, when I came out of there, I wasn't there long, but when I came out of there on the medication they gave me, it was making me stare off, sick, not knowing what really was around me. And I knew this wasn't me. This is not something I was supposed to have. And I knew one day God said, you need me. I know I needed Jesus. And so no more pills. I turned my life over to God. And that's what gave me my sanity. Because God is a healer. He'll put you in the right direction. And He saved me.
As you probably say, mind, soul, and body.
Yes, mind, soul, and body. He saved me. Even through my my time of being saved, no, I may not made the right choices, did the right things, because we all are not perfect. But I do know that He is the one that will put you in the right place at the right time. And so, as far as me saying that as well, it's like I am waiting for the Lord to send me the right man, and because if He becomes the right man to me, I don't have to worry about any of that. God first. That's the thing. God first. But it had to take me to turn my life over to God in order to leave all the wickedness, behind me. Like I said, there's temptations, there's things that come up, in front of me, but I have to learn, still to go forward, regardless. But I do thank God for where He's brought me from. I am a better person. I believe in myself. I am beautiful no matter what. And again, like I said, it's nothing but a blessing for when people always ask me, or say to me, you have a 39-year-old daughter, you look like this. And I'm serious, I always go back, and when they say that, I look back and I'm thinking, do they understand where I really came from? Because if I don't look like the drugs that I was on, I don't look like the beatings that I've been through. I don't look like all the alcohol that I put inside this guy. I don't look like that. And it's nobody but God has changed me, And also, matter of fact, you have to have forgiveness in your heart. I forgave all that has done what they've done to me. I forgave them, because as Lance said, something went on to stir them that way, and we have to pray for them. I pray for them, that that if they're still doing that they will get on the right path, But still, forgiveness in the heart is where it all starts as well. Because if you hold that in your heart and don't forgive, you're still stuck. You're still stuck. But I just tell my story because I know that I am free. And I want this to be able to help someone to say, if she can get out of it, if she can look like that, I can too.
That's good because, that's good. I was getting ready to say we're trying to close because you're right. Forgiveness is key.
Yes.
No matter what someone does to you, period, you have to forgive them to be able to move on. And I thank you for sit down and telling your story. I said so much more we can get into. If they want to follow you, you have a Facebook account. We're gonna get you kind of back in the swing of things.
You'll see my face, but I'm not on there.
But a way to reconnect is that again, I might have said the address wrong, but it's 29512 Campbellsbed Drive, Easton. She is the head of the choir. She's a wonderful singer. I ain't gonna put her on the spot to have her sing, but she can blow, and she sings under the anointing, and she sings with that pain of what she went through. Yeah, the women's ministry as well, and not just for young women, but for women in general. Reach out if you can inbox me. I'll give you the information, but please, reach out if you're in that, get out of that relationship.
If they want to talk to me,
if
they want to talk to me, get through you, we'll talk. Because one thing I know that is important, I know we got to hurry up, but sometimes we think, I don't want nobody to tell. Whatever you tell me, it is confidential. I'm telling you because I know that's important. You don't want no one else to know. But feel free to talk to me because I will understand.
We appreciate everybody taking out this time on Saturday. Again, this is the Real Sportsman Podcast, but it's coming out of the dark, the story behind the story.
Yeah.
Check out your boy, got a lot of stuff coming. See y'all. God bless.